Okay, we're in chapter 23, Mishnah 2. We're still dealing with laws of talking. Talking on Shabbat shouldn't be the same way as you talk on a regular day. So, let's continue. Moneh Adam b'Shabbat. A person is allowed to count on Shabbat et orchav she'ezminam leseuda. The guests that he invited for a meal. You can ask his wife, say, hey, who's coming? George and Shmuel and Zvulun and Issachar and...
You don't have to say, not George, not Zvulun.
You're allowed to count.
Yeah,
you're not, because you're not counting numbers, you're counting people. Yeah, so that's fine. You're allowed to count the people. And also, ve'et parotav. So not only the people you're allowed to count, also the type of food. We have dessert, and we have chicken, and we have rice, and we have potatoes, and we have peas, and we have this, the meals. Minei ha'ma'adanim שהוא רוצה להגיש. All kinds of food that he wants to put up. Mipiv. He's allowed to do it as long as it's orally. בעל פה. אבל לא מן הכתב. But if he has a list, he's not allowed to read it off a list. You're not allowed to have a prepared list and start reading it off a list. Neither, not the people, nor the foods. לא יקרא מתוך הכתב. You shouldn't read them from written documents. Now, why shouldn't you? What are you afraid of? שהכין מערב שבת, ושני טעמים אמרו בגמרא על כך. There's going to be two reasons why one is not allowed to do this. What are the two reasons? The two reasons are as follows. Number one, גזרה שמא ימחוק אחד מהמוזמנים, משום שאינו רוצה בו. You know, he's going to start, if you have a list, and you start reading it off, he says, hey, who's coming tonight, honey? And you start, she shows you this, and you read George, and you say, this guy, I don't like him. You're going to start erasing. It says, you're going to do it subconsciously. Once you have it in your hand, it's like what you do. Or mishum she'noda lo shelo yavo, or because you know he's not going to come. Your wife tells you, no, you know, Issachar, he said he won't be able to come, he has something else planned. Then you might come to erase it. Or שמא ימחוק אחת מהפרפרות מאיזו סיבה שהיא. Or maybe he's going to erase one of the foods for whatever reason there is. In other words, they're afraid you're going to come to erase. That's the first explanation why you don't read from a list. Now we have a second explanation that we're not going to like that one so much. Bet שמא יתרגל לקרות בשטרי הדיוטות. It says, because we don't want him to read any other documents, regular, mundane documents, non-holy documents. On Shabbat, one should read only holy things. Once you can read this document, then you can read the newspaper, then you can read this, then you can read that, then you can read whatever already. You know, you become used to it. So no, there's made a decree, that's it. On Shabbat, only allowed to read holy things. That's it. Don't read newspapers, don't read books, don't bring business books, whatever it is. היינו בשטרות של מקח וממכר וכיוצא בהם. You're going to read all kinds of documents. You know, you tell Zeu, if you like to read documents, maybe I can read, the stock, how's this company doing? I'm planning to buy it. Can I read this in the New York Times? Yeah, the business section. שקריאתם אסורה בשבת. Reading all this document is prohibited on Shabbat. ויש מפרשים, and there are those who explain, שכל הכתבים מחוץ לכתבי הקודש נקראים שתי דיוטות. It means not even the business section. Even the sports section of the newspaper you're not allowed to read. Any section of the newspaper. If it's not Torah, one is not allowed to read it on Shabbat. ואסור לקרות מהם בשבת. And one is not allowed to read them on Shabbat. Yes.
Where does the Tanya come into play in that? Would you
consider it's a holy thing. Okay. Anything that is religious is holy. Okay. Next.
So you think the law now is the woman she can have a Shabbat meal list, to keep.
She can have. She cannot read out from it. That's what it says in the Mishnah. That's what it looks like.
You think that's the law?
I don't know what the law is, but it looks to me like it probably is.
Wow.
Yeah. Umefis, a new section completely. We're going to be dealing with laws of gambling here now. Umefis. Mefis means he makes a lottery. In Eretz Israel, you saw pies. You remember you saw pies? Misrada pies. The lottery is called pies. That's what it's called. That's where it comes from. The word mafis, lottery. Matil goral b'Shabbat. Person is allowed to make lottery on Shabbat. With whom? Im banav. He can do it with his children. V'bnei beito ala shulchan, and with his people on the table. What does it mean? It means like you've got 6 cookies, right? And you say, which one is going to get the cookie? So you say, make a lottery, guys. You know, there's 6 guys of you. You know, each one is going to fight. Like this, we're going to make a lottery, and each one, whatever the lottery is going to get his cookie. Right? על המנות המוגשות לשולחן. On the meals that are given on the table, מי יקבל תחילה, you can make a lottery, who's going to get it first, ומי יקבל מנה זו או זו, who's going to get the potato side, who's going to get the meat side, and so on and so forth. Why are you allowed to make a lottery? Gambling is not allowed. How come you're allowed to make a lottery? לפי שבני הבית, because that the people in the house, אינם מקפידים זה על זה, they are not going to be upset. They're not going to be upset if this one got a larger meal or this one got a lesser meal. ומקבלים ברצון את תוצאות ההגרלה. And this is where this is the difference between why one is not allowed to gamble. If you can ask, well, why is gambling not allowed? Everybody knows the odds before he comes. Right? The question is, are you happy in the end? You know, when you have a business deal, one gave something, the other one took something. If in the end of the meal, one of them is unhappy, there was something wrong with the meal, with the deal. There was something wrong with the deal. So, over here, since everybody is happy with the deal, you know, the people in the house are happy with the deal. He got a little bit larger cookie, I got a little bit larger, but we know each other. It's okay. It's one of those things.
Wasn't the family deciding, here, you're going to get this one, you're going to get this one, then they feel like they've been cheated. But if it's up to fate or by chance, there's nobody to complain about.
Yeah, but that's true. But even if the father gave it, they will still be okay. Because, you know...
No, father always gives me the small one. Why should he always give the small one? No. Father didn't do it. It was pick the straw. I mean, when they say lottery...
That's what it means, yeah. That's the lottery.
Straws?
The idea of picking the straws. I'm not sure you can actually pick straws, but right. Yeah, but that's the idea. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, pick straws, maybe. Yeah, the short straw. Let's say there's 5 long ones and 1 short one.
I mean, he can feel bad because every time he gets a short straw.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that his dad is giving him the short straw.
So how come you're allowed to do it with other people? Same thing. See, the difference is that the people in the house, after the deal is done, they're not upset. They don't have anger. They're okay with the deal. It's family. That's the idea.
They have
that's
to deal
it.
with it either way.
Exactly. That's why you're allowed to do it with the family, because they don't have the anger. But if it's people who are not bnei beito,
Your guests.
yeah, exactly. Somebody is going to get really upset on the deal. אבל עם אחרים, but with other people, אינם מגרילים בשבת. You don't make this lottery on Shabbat. Why? שהואילו מקפידים זה על זה, they get upset when this one gets something and the other one doesn't get something, ואינם מוותרים זה לזה. They don't just say, it's okay. עלולים הם לבוא לידי מידה ומשקל ומניין. They might come to say, no, let's measure it. Let's measure my cookie, let's measure your cookie, make sure we get the same weight of cookies. I don't allow it. They're going to start measuring, they're going to start this. People in the house are not going to measure, let me have a little bit more. But People, that don't know each other so well, you might be afraid of that. וכן לעבור משום לווים ופורים. And then you're going to say, oh, you know what, give me this piece, I'll give you that piece, all kind of business deals now are going to happen. So you don't want it. Just lottery when people in the house is allowed, people outside of the house not allowed. Ubilvad, and this is as long, the lottery we discussed so far are what? Are a lottery of the same things. There's 5 cookies, they're about the same. Yeah? What happens if one cookie is giant and the other ones are small? Let's continue. ובלבד שלא יתכוון לעשות מנה גדולה כנגד קטנה. As long as you don't make a big portion against a small portion. שיעשה מנות שוות. You have to make all the meals equal. ולא תהיה מנה אחת גדולה ואחת קטנה. Shouldn't be one portion big, one portion small. ויזכו על פי הגורל זו בגדולה וזו בקטנה. And then they're going to win according to the lottery, this one in big one, this one in small one. And that you're not allowed to do, mishum kubiya, because that is real gambling. This is really considered gambling, and gambling is not allowed even on a Tuesday, there's nothing with Shabbat. That's gambling. If you have 2 different values, that's completely gambling. שהגרלה דוזו דומה למשחק בקובייה. This kind of thing is like somebody who's actually gambling, playing with a dice. והרי הוא כמקח וממכר בשבת. It is just going to the stock market on Shabbat, the same thing. Playing dice on Shabbat, going to the stock market on Shabbat, what's the difference? Exactly the same thing. Beram. So it looks like it's easy, but the Gemara is going to tell us it's a little bit more complicated than we think. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שמותר להפיס בשבת בני ביתו אפילו מנה גדולה כנגד קטנה. The Gemara explained to us that you know what? With your own people in their household, you're allowed to do this even with one big portion and one small portion. You'll still be allowed to do this. Why? It's like, לפי שאין בני הבית מקפידים כלל על המנות השונות הנפלות בחלקו של כל אחד. Because they don't mind. Somebody gets more, somebody gets less. They don't get upset. ומה שנשנה במשנתנו הוא בעברה שלא התכוון לעשות מנה גדולה כנגד קטנה. So why does it say, as long as it doesn't mean to make one portion, a big portion against a small portion? מדובר במי שמסב עם אחרים. Over here it's discussing the next portion, the next part of the Mishnah. The one who's sitting with other people, not people of his own household. והמשנה חסרה היא. In other words, the Mishnah is taking you in the wrong direction. It looks like the Mishnah talks about both of them. It says, no, the first portion talks about your household. The next portion talks about regular people that are not in the household. It doesn't say that, but that's what it means. That's what the Gemara says. וכך צריך לשנות. This is how you have to read it. ומפיס עם בניו ובני ביתו על השולחן בשבת. It says you're allowed to make lottery with your family on the table on Shabbat. אבל לא עם אחרים, but not with other people. From the reason we mentioned above. במה דברים אמורים? What are we talking about that you're allowed to do this? בשבת. On Shabbat. אבל בכל, but in a regular day, מותר להפיס אפילו עם אחרים. In a regular day, you're allowed to do this even with other people. Yeah? Even with other people in a regular day, you're allowed to do it. As long as everybody has the same portion, you're allowed to do it with other people. But, ובלבד שלא יתכוון לעשות מנה גדולה כנגד קטנה משום קובייה. As long as you're not going to do one big portion and one small portion, because that's going to consider to be gambling, and gambling is not allowed in any time. כלומר, שמנה גדולה כנגד קטנה, אף בכל אסור להפיס עם אחרים. In other words, if people are makpid on each other, which means they care, if you have big portion and small portion, you're not allowed to do it ever, not on Shabbat, not even in a weekday, because of gambling. מפני שנראה כמשחק בקובייה, because this looks exactly like gambling. ויש בזה משום גזל מדרבנן. And the Rabbi says it's a type of stealing. לפי שאסמכתה אינה קונה. because asmachta doesn't buy. It's almost like you mislead a person. You see, everybody thinks he has a chance to win. And he's willing to take the chance only because he's thinking that he's going to win. He doesn't actually realize that if he really, really understands the chance, that the logistics of it, well, he's never going to play. That's one of the things. It says it's like lottery today. If somebody really understands lottery, the rules and the regulation, he says it's a losing game. Why should I play? It's stupid even to play. Okay, and this is an asmachta. It says you rely. What's an asmachta? Haynu itchayvut lechavero. This is an obligation that you have to his friend. She'adam mekabel al atzmo al tzad hasafek. That you receive on yourself on doubt. Hatalui betnai yadua bli gmar da'at. This means that you think that even though you know the odds, it says the odds on the lottery ticket, but your mind all the time tells you, no, this is my ticket. I'm going to win this one. That's why people go and buy it. Because even though they might even know the knowledge of the odds, it's subconsciously everybody feels, this is my time. Now I'm going to win. And this is called misleading a person. ועיין רש"י, look at רש"י, דיבור מתחיל משום קובייה. Okay. Next.
So you can do with your family if it's equal portions?
It looks like you can do with your family even if it's unequal portions. Again, the idea here is the guy, after the deal is done, is he upset? Does he accept it? Is he happy with the outcome? Can he live with it, or he gets upset? If he gets upset, you can't do it. If it says by family, by friends,
you have a chance of being okay. Yeah. Outside for sure. No.
Exactly. Very good. Now we have another problem. The other problem is there used to be lottery in the temple. Why there used to be lottery in the temple? The Kohanim used to come every day in the morning and they used to make lotteries about who's going to work, first of all, from this family, who's going to work. That's the first lottery. And then there was another lottery, who's going to get which kind of job. Mm-hmm. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Yeah? So there were lotteries in the temple during the time. So say, what about the lottery in the temple? Are you allowed to have them on Shabbat? So let's see. Umatilim chalashim, and one is allowed to make lottery ala kodashim beyom tov, on the sacrifices in Yom Tov, ala korbanot shenishchatu beyom tov, on the sacrifices that are slaughtered on Yom Tov, kedei lechalek besaram ben hakohanim, in order to distribute the flesh between the Kohens. Aval lo al amanot, but they were not allowed to make lottery on the portions. Now, what are portions? Al chilkei hakodashim shenechlatu be'erev Yom Tov. This is the meat that was yesterday's meat. In other words, the meat from before Yom Tov. That they're not allowed to make lottery on Yom Tov itself. They should have done that lottery when? Before that. Since they could have done it before it, they didn't. They can't do it now. Wait for the next day. The problem is, I'll tell you what's the problem with wait for the next day. Sometimes you can't wait for the next day because it takes time. But it says, to teach you next time, you want to take it home? You can't take it home now. שהואיל והיה זמן להגריל עליהם לפני יום טוב, since they had time to make lottery on them before יום טוב, אסרו חכמים להגריל עליהם ביום טוב. It says you didn't do your job before יום טוב, you kept this job for יום טוב itself, it's not allowed. הרמב"ם מפרש בדרך אחרת, the Rambam explains in another manner, מטילים גורלות על מנות הקודשים ביום טוב. It says you make lotteries on the sacrifices on יום טוב, on the flesh, בין שנשחטו ביום טוב, בין בערב יום טוב. The Rambam says you're even allowed to do it from the ones from beforehand. Why? כדי לחייב על המצווה. So that people are going to show this mitzvah, if people are not going to know that the Kohen ate his portion, he's going to be upset. It says, I bought this portion for me, for the Kohen, for God, and now the Kohen is not going to eat it, I'm going to be upset. So the Rambam says, no. It means that you are allowed to take it, because to make sure that the Jewish people are going to be happy with their sacrifices. Aval lo al amanot. But you don't do that on the portions, hainu al amanot shel chulin, on portions of chulin. In other words, portions that were not sacrifices. That you're not allowed to make the lottery on. She'en matilim goralot alehem beyom tov. These portions, you don't bring them on Yom Tov. What's chulin? Chulin are sacrifices that a person brings, but not for a specific holy purpose. There's holy purposes and there's less holy purposes, just for eating. Okay. Finished.